Welcome back, guys. So I baked I baked a new map inside of Momoset 2 bag. So I kind of baked an item map out of Momoset 2 bag because in Maya I could not get the skin pore details to actually show properly inside of Maya. So inside of Momoset 2 bag, I kind of baked out a new map for this, a displacement map for just the head. So I don't know if that will actually work, but I just want to kind of try that out to kind of see if that will actually work and kind of fix the issue I'm having for not getting the skin pores kind of show properly in our render view. So I didn't do anything super fancy. I just baked a displacement map inside of Momoset 2 back. The same way also we baked an height map. So the same way also we baked a normal map. So I baked this at 32-bit displacement map. Though I'm not completely sure if this will work though, because I did not bake this out. I did not bake this out. Also, I did not bake this out from ZBrush. So you can say 32-bit map. If I'm sure you guys did not use the AG geometry, because the main problem came from using the AG geometry. So I'm just kind of having a lot of issues. Kind of my normal regular workflow got ruined because I used the AG geometry. So I'm just trying to look for a preferable solution for this. So normally, if I should bake my displacement map, which I believe you also did also from ZBrush, the way to kind of set this up should be just like so. I already have I already have like a shader network screenshot of how it's going to be set up, which I'm also going to do in a minute. But just to show you guys exactly how to kind of set this up. Then in the model itself, there are some values we need to kind of change in the model, and by default the scalar 0 value should be around 0.5. That's if you kind of baked it out of ZBrush, your displacement map. So once kind of put this as 0.5, you shouldn't have so much of an issue. But in my but in my case, it's a bit different because I did not bake my displacement map out of ZBrush. I kind of baked this out in Momoset 2 back. So I just hope this actually works. If it doesn't work, then that's completely fine. We're just going to carry on and then continue texturing the other parts of the assets. Then probably next time I would definitely avoid using the AG geometry for my next project. But I believe in the introduction video, I kind of told you guys not to use the AG geometry feature, but just to increase the resolution, the subdivision level just one more step higher to kind of be able to kind of work properly inside of ZBrush and then bake out a displacement map just the way I did, even though it didn't actually come out correctly inside of ZBrush because I used the AG geometry. But if you kind of bake your own normally, following the instruction, you should have displacement map that's completely fine to use instead of Maya for your rendering, and the value should kind of be something around here like so. This particular height value you can actually adjust on your own. See, it's more or less like an intensifier for your displacement map. But this scalar value should actually be on 0 if you kind of bake it with default values inside of ZBrush. So let's go into Maya and then kind of set this up. It's my own external map. Hopefully this doesn't crash. But one thing I would like to do first is to kind of convert this file into a TIFF file. So I'm going to come in here and then save this out again, and I'll save this as TIFF format. So let me just come in here and just change this to TIFF, and just name this to displacement. So DISP. I think this should be just fine. This should be just fine, and I'll save this out. Another thing I'd like to do is kind of check this grayscale value. Let me check the value for this grayscale. So I'm just going to use my color picker and just select this So it's around 50% brightness, or more or less like 50% gray. So that should more or less kind of affect the value I should be using in here. So since this is on 50% gray, I'll most likely be using the same, probably the same value. Probably that should work also. So I've saved that out. Should have it around here now. 21 MB. So back inside of Maya. So the first thing you need to do is kind of select the model itself. Then go to the attribute editor. Let me just give this a moment. Yes, okay. Under the attribute editor, you go to the Arnold tab. So just select, click on this Arnold tab. Then you scroll down. Under subdivision, kind of set this to cat clerk. For now, I'm going to leave the iterations as 1. Then under displacement attributes, so I'm going to turn on this auto bump in here. For this height, I'm going to leave this at 1 for now. This value I'm going to leave at 0 for now also. So let's go into our hypershade. Okay, let's kind of make sure. Let's bring out our Arnold render view. You know, this is kind of taking a bit of time to kind of load up. Okay. So I'm just going to bring in the, go to rendering, and I'll just bring out rendering, bring out this hypershade. So let's just look at how we can just kind of set this up. So first thing first in our hypershade is kind of make sure we're using the same material, using the same AI standard surface material for the same model. Then we're just going to bring in a new node inside of this. The node we're going to be using is the displacement shader node. And we're just kind of set this up the same way. So you would notice the displacement map is around here. Let's just give this a moment to kind of load up. Another thing was that as much as I kind of cranked up the displacements, as much as I cranked up, let me delete this. I won't be needing this. As much as I cranked up the normal map strengths in here, I could not still capture the skin pulse details properly. So I'm using a different approach to this now by trying out some displacement map in here and hope it kind of works. I'm just gonna hope it works. So let's just bring this shader network, this main shader engine down here. So then we'll create a displacement map, a displacement shader, a displacement node. So hit tab on the keyboard and type in displacement. So let's bring in the displacement shader in here. It also comes with its own shading engine, its own shading node. So let's just delete this for now, and I'll just drag this network and drop this in here. Okay. Then we'll select the node. Let's select the node. It's supposed to be saying something like so. Shading group. Shading group. Let's see if we can find that around here. Can't actually see that in here though. probably need to look. Let's just plug in let's just plug in the map. So I'll go in here. This is more or less like a trial and error because I've not used displacement map out of Moveset 2 back before, so I'm not completely sure if this is going to work correctly or not. So let's just drag our displacement map supposed to be plugged in here. But we can just drag this texture into this hyper shade, or select this two, or drag this here. So first of all, we want to kind of make sure this data is on raw. I want to make sure the color space for this newly imported edge only displacement map is on raw. Very important. So I'll just select this portion in here, but I'm sure you guys know where it's gonna actually find it. So I'll come in here and I'll change this to raw. Okay, I think I should tick on alpha is luminance also. Okay, so we have everything set up now except for one thing. So the out alpha will be plugged to the displacement network in here. Then the next thing we need to start playing with should be, let's pull out this for now. Next we need to start playing with kind of get this to work correctly. Let me select this. These values around here. But before we do that, let me just do a quick save for this. Then we're going to fire up the Arnold render view. Then we'll kind of see what that gives us. So let's bring in the Arnold render view in here. Okay, let me kind of shrink this in. Like so. Zoom out. Then we'll go to view. We want to kind of see this. We want to kind of see this at 50% resolution. And that should be fine for now. So F5 to refresh render. So let's play this render. Let's give this a moment to kind of calculate, kind of convert our newly imported displacement map to a TX file so that we can actually cache this into Arnold render memory, so we can actually get a faster preview of what we're doing when we kind of make corrections or adjustments to the node. So let's just give this a moment. Okay, we have something in here now, but you can see how this looks really bloated. This is definitely not what we want. This is definitely not what we want. So now we need to start adjusting the value in here. So remember, we kind of selected the value and we had a value of 50% brightness, which is more or less like 0.5. So if we have like a full white at a value of 1, then 50% of that white should be like, let's say 0.5. So let's come in here and just type in a value of 0.5. Then this should kind of update automatically. Okay, so we're having this flattened out now, but I'm still not sure if this is kind of capturing the skin pulse details that we need. So we need to kind of get a closer view on this, most especially on the lips. So let me just stop this for now. Let's get something around here like so. But I'm sure when you guys are working with this, you should start having at least some details in here. If you kind of set this up the same way I just set this up, and you shouldn't be having too much issues. But in here is more or less like trial and error is gonna figure out if the moment set to back baked out map is going to actually work. If it doesn't work, that's completely fine. That would be an error on my own part, but I believe you guys just follow the instruction without having to use the HD geometry like I keep repeating. You should be just fine. So I'm going to fire up this render again. So I'm going to be using this render region in here, and I want to actually kind of render just the lips only. I'm going to get a closer view in there. I'll go to the X tab. I can't really can't really see much of the beard showing up in here. So let me just update this again. Hopefully this doesn't crash. Okay, so let's just refresh this render. Let's refresh the render. Let's see. Then we're going to do a comparison with the displacement map on and without the displacement map on. Let me just give this a moment to kind of load up, but I feel this displacement map is now beginning to interfere with the generated XGen here. That's what I feel now. But we'll see. Let's just keep running some tests on this until we have a good balance to it. So I'll do a quick snapshot of this. Okay. Then I'll go back to the attribute editor. I'm going to crank up this. Okay, yes, one more thing we need to do is to let's increase the iterations to a value of 2. Then crank this up to a value of 3. I'll do a quick save. Then I'm going to I want to increase this a bit more. So let's fire up the render again. Then I'll come back when this is done. You can see now after increasing the height intensity for this, you can see now how this becomes a bit bloated, so which is definitely not what we want. So I think I might even use the value of, let's say, 0.5. Let me just stick with the value I had from this setting in here. Just stick with the value I had from this setting in here. So you can see now how we have more of the beard now showing up properly as they should. So another thing we need to do is kind of do a full body render of this. I don't think this height map created is actually doing so much in here, but I think I'll just leave this as it is. I'll just leave this as it is. So let's do a full body render, and then we'll continue to kind of do some Lookdev for the other parts of the material like the eye and the clothing. Then we can do look development for the XGen generated air for this. So let me just stop this now. I'll zoom out a bit, probably somewhere around here. Then we'll do another quick render. Let me just turn off this. Okay. Then let's do a proper render for this. Probably just even use, just drag this out, so you can just render just this view only. So I'll come back when this is done. Okay, I've just rendered out only 15%. I think this will be fine. This looks fine. There isn't so much of an issue in here that I can that we can fix. I think this should be just fine. So let's do a quick stop for this. Then let's start. Let me remove this render region. Let's get a closer view for the eyes. And let's let's start rendering something for the eyes. Let's use this view. Let us get this as like this for now. Then let's start with we have fingers in here, outer eyes. Okay. Let's start with the inner eyes. So I'm just going to review the inner eye. Then I'm going to give this a new material. I'm going to give this an Arnold material, Arnold AI standard surface. Okay. Then the roughness for this should be very high. But we don't want this to kind of capture. Let me put this on skin also. We don't want this to kind of capture any kind of reflectivity on it. Then on the subsurface, we put increase this all the way up. Random walk. Then the scalar value should be the same also like the previous one. It should be around 0.1 because I have this model on real world scale. Then the color, the radius color also we need to change. Offset this also the way it is here. So let's just go back in there. Should be on 1, be 0.35 because I want the eye to kind of get some kind of fleshy look to it. 0.200. So this should be just fine. Then on the subsurface color, I'm going to plug in my color map for the eyes. So I think we have some exported textures for that. But I feel like my thing is kind of darken the eye a bit more. I feel I need to darken the eye a bit more. So this is a more darker value to it. So I'm going to be using this darker value for it. So let's start. Okay, yes, let me just copy these 5 parts. So copy these 5 parts. I'll come in here. I'm going to be using the fine node for this. Then let's paste in the correct channel for this. So we should be having the inner eyes base color. So I'm going to be using this darker one for it. So let's open this up. So this should be on XRGB. XRGB will work just fine. So in our hyper shade, I think we have this all messed up. Let me just rename this properly also. Let's make sure we rename this material. Let me name this to AI inner eyes. Okay, just to keep things a bit more organized. Let's see if we can select all of this. No, I just need, where's the eye? I'm not sure this shading network actually updated. Okay, yeah, this is in here. AI. So let's just go to the graph network for this. Okay. So yes. Then let's also set up the AI normal for this. So first of all, let's kind of go in here and kind of drag the normal map. OpenGL should be just fine. So I'll just drag and drop this in here. So the setup is precisely the same also like we did for the head. So in here I would just bring this in here so you guys can actually see this. Then I will tap the AI normal map. Then the out color will go to input. Just like we did the out color to input, then out value to normal camera. Okay. Then I think I might need to kind of crank this strength up. But for now, let's kind of do a quick render for this and let's see what that gives us. Let me just zoom in here a bit. Like so. Then let's do a quick render for this. Oh yes, one more one more thing we need to do is to make sure our texture file is on raw, which we did not do. So let's just stop this for now. Then let's go back to the hyper shade. Select the texture and make sure this is on raw. Okay. Then let's refresh this again. I think the color value for this eye should work just fine. I doubt if we need to, or if I will need to kind of adjust this anymore, because just as it is right now, it actually looks dark. It's actually dark enough. Let me just drag this around here. So I'll select the normal map. So I'm going to increase the intensity of this normal map. The strength, I'm going to increase the strength to a value of 5. Let's come in here again. So let's just do a render region for this only, for the eye only. And we can't really see so much of the light information in there, but at least we can see the normal map actually being affected in there. Let me see if you can get a closer view to this. It's not very strong though, but at least it's actually in there. Which is kind of precisely what we want. Maybe I should crank this up to, let me just crank this up to a value of 10 instead. Okay. This should be just fine. Then, yeah, this should work just fine. Then I'm going to stop the render now. So let's bring in the outer eyes, which is like the glass shell of the eye. Also with the minuscles. Then I'll select these two, the outer eyes and the minuscles, and I'll give them a new material. So a new Arnold material. Let's use the same AI standard surface. Then I'm going to rename this to AI outer eye minuscles. Just put this to minus instead. Then I'll put this weight value all the way to 1, because we're trying to create a glass material in here. And I believe we have so under transmission, I'll drag this all the way to 1 also. Or better still, we can actually use a preset. You can actually use the preset in here. Let's use the preset in here. Let's just use a glass preset in here. So we have glass in here. Replace. So this will kind of change up the settings. It's going to give us a glass material in there. But there's one more thing we need to do. But before we do that, let me kind of show you guys something. So now we have the glass material in our hyper shade. So if we go to our render view now, and we'll render this out. You notice that it's just showing just completely black. We can't really see the eyes. You can't really see the inner part of the eyes through this, because this particular glass material is not opaque. So how do we make this glass material opaque? So let me stop this render for now. So let's make sure these two, let's start with this. Let's start with the minuscles. Select that, come in here on the Arnold tab. I believe, yes, in the Arnold tab in here. So let's turn this off. I'll select this outer eyes also and turn this off. With that done, I believe we should be having the eyes show properly now through this. So let's render this out again. Now we can actually see. Now we can actually see the eye through this. Okay. This is more or less like precisely what we want. So with this now, I think we have this completely set up, I believe. So let's just stop this render now. And then let's zoom out a bit more. Let's kind of get a general view on this from a distance. So I'll move the IPR, the render region rather. And let's render this out. So now we have something more lifelike in there, since we have some eyes now in here that we can actually see. To kind of give more life to this model. I'm going to make sure my render, let me make sure the camera I'm rendering out from, okay, 85mm, that's correct. I'm going to make sure I'm rendering from the perspective camera. Ish, what did I just do? So I think I think yes, this is cameras. This is a cameras in use. I'm actually rendering this from the camera perspective view, so that's completely fine. So now we can, with the eyes in there, now you can see something a bit more lifelike. I think this eye should work just fine. Okay. I don't know if I should even keep the displacement or even remove it. I'm feeling like I should even remove the displacement, maybe. Hmm. Let me just leave it for now. Let's just leave that displacement in there for now. So this looks fine. This we can definitely work with. So I'll just stop this now. Every other thing is just basically the same. Just basically the same process. Basically the same process. Now for the fingernails, I think the fingernails, I'm even supposed to kind of set these fingernails up properly because I feel they are not accurately set up yet. So let's just bring this in. Yes, like I said, they're not accurately set up. Except for this one, this pinky though. This pinky is properly set up. These other fingernails, I'll need to kind of raise them out a bit more. But no problem, I can do that later on. But let's just, it's not really a deal breaker for us. We can always adjust that in ZBrush and then bring this back in. Let's just use this particular pinky that is actually in the right position to kind of shade this properly. So right click on node, new material. I would be using the AI standard surface also. But let's do it from the other. I think the other side has better lighting. The lighting on the other side is better. Let me just name this to AI fingers. So I'm kind of thinking in between getting this to have some kind of subsurface to it. Let me just set it up that way. It's kind of have some kind of subsurface scattering to it. So let's just increase this up all the way up like so. Let's get a good angle on this. Something like so should be fine. We can't use the glass material for this obviously. So the dye, I think I missed something. Okay, let's use the same random walk. I think for this particular one, the color might be slightly different. I might just be keeping this default color for it. Maybe just change this up a bit. So this should be on a value of 0.1. The radius color, let's try that 0.5. Then oops, this should be 0.6. 250. Why do I keep losing this? Okay, but for this particular one, the value should be, I think I need to make this a bit brighter, like so. Maybe somewhere around here should be fine. Then let's plug in our texture map. Now the subsurface color, let's plug in the texture map for this finger. So I'm going to be using a fine note for this. The specularity for this should be, I think that the default should be just fine. I believe the default should be just fine. So this is the base color for this. Okay. Then it's gonna plug in the normal map for it also. So AI finger, let's bring in the graph network for this. So more or less like a repetitive process also. Let me just make sure I drag and drop the finger OpenGL. No, you actually want to use this OpenGL normal map, and not this normal map in here. The OpenGL normal map should work just for. Oh, this actually comes with a roughness map too, so that's completely fine. We're going to use the roughness map too. Okay. So make sure this is on raw. Drag this out like so. So let's use the AI normal map. Out color to input, out value to camera, to normal camera. The strength, we probably just put the strength at, let me put this at 3 for now. Then let's bring in the roughness map also. So let's drag and drop the roughness map in here. We collapse this for now. Select this to drag this down. Select this to, I'll just put this around here. We also need an AI correct node, color correct node, kind of adjust this a bit better to our liking. This actually needs to be on top. Let's just drag this on top. So tab AI color correct. Let me just drag this up here. So the out alpha should go to input. So I made a mistake. I think I actually lost this in. Let me just bring this in again. So let me bring this roughness map in here. I'll select this and make sure it's on raw. Okay. Put this on raw. Then also should be on alpha is luminance. Alpha is luminance should also be turned on. Now bring in the AI color correct node. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Okay. AI color correct. So upload the out alpha to input. This is not working, so it's working just. So I have this plugged in here already, but you can't find it anymore. Now to kind of bring it back to kind of show your textures and your connection in here for this particular roughness map. So I'll select the node and I'll just select this input and output connection. So we should actually see this in here now. So the out color goes to input and then the out alpha goes to specular roughness. So let me select the AI color correct now. Then just click on this invert. Then let's fire up our render now. Then if we select the AI fingers again, right click on hold, go to graph network. You should be able to see the other graph network to this. So let's fire up the Arnold render view and let's see what we have. So we have something running in here now. So let me just come in here and just do a render region for this only. We're not really having much light information in there, but let's just render this out and let's see what that gives us. Then if we want to make modifications to this, we'll just go on and make modifications to this. If not, then we'll just leave it as it is. I think it actually looks good with the normal map and displacement map working on it. She's for the edges, I believe, for the edges, so I think we can just leave it the way it is. But if you still want to kind of go in there and make some corrections to it, that's completely fine. You can always do that. But I think this came out just fine. Yeah, I think this came out just fine. Yes, this will work just fine. So I think for the body, apart from the clothing, I think this should. I think everything seems to be working just fine. Yes, I think I can actually live with this. Is there anything else we're supposed to do before moving on to the clothing? I think for the most part, we kind of captured everything in here. Yes, this actually came out quite nice. Maybe the only thing I'm supposed to do is to kind of crank up the normal map intensity for this. Let me crank this up a bit more. Probably put this at a value of 10. And I'll do a quick save for this. Okay, so in the next lesson we're going to be bringing in we're going to be texturing we're doing look development for the accessories or the clothing of this character. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Bye for now.